The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Harvesting into The Local Show. You've got us, Tom and Steve, the two guys with not a lot to say, but we put on a lot of great people, right?
That's the key.
That's the key, is getting good people on.
Because you had to listen to us the whole time.
You might
turning the dial like, oh, it's those two idiots. You don't turn the dial anymore, Tom. That's a really antiquated statement.
It really is.
Does anybody actually turn a dial?
You got to press the buttons and everything.
Remember when it was like I had to get like, and if it wasn't right on, static and stuff.
Yeah, it would be mono and then into stereo.
That's right.
All that kind of stuff.
Anybody under 100 doesn't know what we're talking about. That's okay.
No. Well, with all the construction that's going on around town, you know that something's coming. Something's big. Like you were saying, it's like Scranton. It's like being in Pennsylvania or getting into Maryland.
Yeah, I see my tax dollars being spent. I know they put all those sound barriers along the highway.
Right.
At 81 where you and I come down.
And they're putting sound barriers where I didn't think we needed sound barriers.
Well, there weren't sound barriers there for the last 50 years.
Right.
And there'll actually be less traffic.
And
so now they're getting the sound barriers.
It's weird. And there's no houses behind it.
There's houses there. Church Street, there's a ton of houses there.
Know.
Yay for the people that live there. That would bless them. But,
right.
But, who's paying for all this stuff?
A lot of all that stuff. We are, of course.
Well, you live in the pastures. You pay for it.
That's right. That's right. Hey, look, we've got a new guest to the show. Listen up, folks. It's Billy Brill. He's the account manager over at the Red Cross. How are you there, Billy?
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. Give us your background. Where'd you come from? Are you a homegrown guy?
I grew up in Old Forge, New York, actually, right close by to
Never heard that. So how many people in your graduating class? Like 9?
We had the largest, I think, in the history of the school with 36.
Good golly.
Yeah. And then came to Syracuse right after high school, worked a lot with kids, foster care system, up until a few years ago, opened a little cafe with my wife for a year to get the restaurant bug out of my system.
Okay.
I had a blast doing that. And I've been with the Red Cross for a couple of years. I've been a donor for a little over 10. So.
Gotcha. Did you go to college for anything specific?
I went to OCC, started out in recreation leadership.
Gotcha.
And that took me over to the Boys and Girls Club, which led to some educational field jobs as a TA. And then got into foster care and just kind of.
Have you always had a bug for helping people?
Certainly, yep. Yeah. I think that's been the constant is this ability to have perspective and see perspective. So I'm really good in high stress situations and I'm pretty level headed.
So you're primarily involved in getting blood donations. Am I
correct.
Making a correct statement here?
Yep.
Okay. It seems like by now there'd be synthetic blood. Is there?
There is not, and it's one of the still one of the most surprising things that even people that donate blood may not understand that we are the only source. We're not a supplement. We are it, and so that's why the need for donors is so important. It can't be manufactured, not any single part of it out of the three main parts. So it relies on us.
With an overwhelmingly unhealthy population like Steve, is it more difficult to find people to give good quality blood?
There isn't really a scale of quality. There is the ability to donate or not. So it's pretty cut and dry. We have a health history. So we screen potential donors to make sure that the risk to the blood supply is as low as possible. Mm-hmm. You pass the screening and you donate blood, then you are good.
Is it true that there's no needles involved?
In some people's imaginations, it can be true, but to an actual donor, no, there is a needle involved. There actually is a smaller needle with the Power Red donation. That's a different type of donation that only takes red blood cells for the types that's most valuable.
Yeah.
And the needle is a little bit smaller, so sometimes it does give people a little.
But people that do that regularly, they're great at it. If you're
if you're a seasoned phlebotomist, you know what you're doing, right?
I've done my time in medical situations and had been stuck plenty of times.
Yes.
You get somebody that does that all the time, you're like, wow, that was good.
Yeah. The Red Cross obviously also has a strong training program for new people coming on, but the hope is that it's a positive experience for every donor because it's not just valuable in that sitting, it's also a lifetime of potential donations we're working with, so we want to make sure they have a comfortable experience.
How much connection does the Syracuse Red Cross have with the National Red Cross?
99.9. We are, so everything comes down from national perspective as far as the numbers, the inventory.
Okay.
Another thing people don't realize, an event on the West Coast could have a ripple effect and impact our inventory here because regions close to them will be sending over theirs and trying to up their blood donation efforts, and then we are supplementing those that help them. And so that's one of a weather event, a large dramatic event, anywhere in the nation can impact us locally.
So giving blood, giving plasma, help me. Explain that.
Yeah. So there's a whole blood donation, which is the most common, and that will get divided up into the three major parts. So red blood cells, platelets, and plasma. You do often hear about just plasma donations. That is a unique part because there are pharmaceutical companies that use plasma to develop treatments and medications, and that's not what the Red Cross deals with. So you may hear people say that you can get a larger amount paid to you as a plasma donator. Those are from for-profit companies and they're used for for-profit reasons.
So why should people, maybe they've never given blood. It seems like, I have a friend of mine, he gives blood every month or two, and he's like keeps track, and he's given X amount of times, and he's at the golden bleedy level, I don't know what it is. and he's into it because he has a heart to help people. If someone's never given blood, what's the process like? Where can they give, and what do they do?
Yeah. So the Red Cross in our area, we have 2 fixed sites, which those are 7 day a week, different hours, one in Liverpool and one in Utica. And so that's something that's always available. And then there's community blood drives. That's where we have to make up the biggest difference in getting units and collecting units. So businesses run them for their employees, community sites, libraries, churches, VFWs, things like that. So if you go to redcrossblood.org and put in your zip code, it's going to bring up all the local blood drives.
So I'm familiar with the location in Liverpool because it's up where I go by there all the time, kind of Bayberry-ish, but before that it sits back in the plaza. If a company wanted to do a blood drive and get their employees involved, how would they do that?
Yeah, so same thing. There's a tab on redcrossblood.org where if you're interested in hosting a blood drive, it's a quick form. But the minimum requirements, we try and make it as easy as possible. If you've got a 800 square foot room or larger space, and it has electrical outlets and it's temperature controlled, then we can help with the rest.
Sure.
So
should people be afraid to give blood? Just really quickly, does anybody get sick from giving blood? Or?
Yep, there can be some adverse reactions, which is very natural on a wide range. From very mild to more severe. We always have a comfort cot available, so if somebody's feeling lightheaded, our phlebotomists are quick to get them over into a lay down position and roll them off to a more private spot.
But just missing the blood, your body goes, hey, something's wrong here. And I know you shove cookies and juice and things at people to raise it back, to get the levels back up.
Yep. So somebody that is donating for the first time, you're going to want to eat a healthy breakfast, drink plenty of water. I think that's the biggest key. It helps widen those veins.
So redcrossblood.org, is that correct?
Yeah.
Is 551-1768 a good number for people to ask questions?
Yeah, that's my work number. You can text or call for any.
Great. So 551-1761 if you want to get involved. redcrossblood.org. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Billy Brill, right there, account manager at the Red Cross. Kicking off hour number 2 of the local show, we're going to have engaging conversations with Carol Terry. She's the sales manager at Mattress Makers. Paul Valco is the treasurer and past president of the Syracuse Thunderbirds Aero Radio Society. John Tomino stops by, co-founder of In My Father's Kitchen, and Amanda Delaney is the production manager at Delaney Farms. All in hour number 2 that starts really soon.